But it really came together in the Oval Office last evening. Bloomberg's Josh Wingrove had quite a time talking with Donald Trump as he was actually signing the paperwork.
Yeah, the signing ceremony turned into a press conference, actually. Here's a little taste of what went down.
We're thinking in terms of 25% on Mexico and Canada because they're allowing vast numbers of people. China charges us tariffs, and we charge them very little, except for what I did. I put a lot of, we took in hundreds of billions of dollars. But until I came along, China never paid 10 cents to this country. I'm fine with legal immigration. I like it. We need it because we're going to have a lot of companies coming in to avoid tariffs. We're the only country in the world that does this with birthright, as you know. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. NATO has to pay more money. NATO has to pay 5%. World Health ripped us off. Everybody rips off the United States. And that's it. It's not going to happen anymore.
And that was just day one. Joining us now, Bloomberg's Laura Davison, who drives our political coverage here in our Washington bureau. I don't even know where to start with you on this, so I guess we'll start broadly here. This was clearly a new tone, a new posture for the White House in the attempt to expand executive power.
Yes, I mean, really, the goal that the administration went in with was shock and awe, and I think they successfully achieved that. There was a whole bevy of executive orders, ranging from everything from sort of more messaging things around, like inflation, directing departments to cut inflation. Not sure how that's going to work. To a lot of things that'll have wide-ranging impact, on the energy front, on curbing a lot of regulations there. We're already seeing some legal action in response to some of these orders, particularly on the birthright citizenship front. So there's a whole sort of day two sort of spawning, and Washington is sort of spinning as they try to figure out exactly how to tackle all these bits and pieces. We also just heard that the SEC is starting a crypto task force to get a whole regulatory framework there. So everyone is moving at 100 miles an hour, and all these things are happening all at once.
Well, we thought he might be moving at 100 miles an hour when it comes to enacting tariffs as well, and it seems like maybe we're only moving at like 15 miles an hour, because clearly he talked about it yesterday. He outlined February 1st as potentially the deadline by which we could see the tariffs enacted on Mexico and Canada, but nothing sweeping announced on day one, despite it being his favorite word in the dictionary, as he reiterated yesterday.
This is, I think where you really see Trump thinking about tariffs as a negotiating tool coming into play. Instead of, imposing a big thing on day one, he's teasing them. He's keeping everyone on their toes. You see global leaders reacting. You see markets reacting. You see traders reacting, trying to figure out, okay, what's happening? And it also gives them an opportunity to go to Trump and say, oh, could we offer this? Could we cut a deal? Could we do that? And that's what he wants, ultimately. He is going to impose some tariffs. We don't know what those are going to be. We don't know what that's going to look like. But he's probably not going to do everything that he talked about. So what everyone's trying to figure out right now are which are the ones he's serious about, which are the ones that he might be able to flex on. And that those Canadian tariffs, Mexican tariffs, that 25% that he talked about in the press conference last night, those are ones that he suggested he might be willing to back down on, if he gets what he wants in terms of the flow of illegal drugs and undocumented migrants.
Boy, there's a lot there. As we just said, AI, to Kaylee's point earlier, will be a big feature this afternoon. He's going to be talking about implementing this big AI infrastructure, investments into OpenAI and Oracle. How much of that has to do with the tech bros who were such a big part of the optics on Inauguration Day?
It has a lot to do with that. You see just a total 180 shift in how the tech world is embracing Trump this time around. They have gotten close to him. They are there. And Trump loves nothing more than someone who was previously critical, who has now come and sort of acts as a supplicant. So what we're going to see today is sort of what Trump has done over the past couple weeks at press conferences, kind of announcing, bringing out business leaders and saying, look, because of me, because of my policies, here's the kind of business investment we're going to get. What's still not clear yet is, it's sort of this announcement will include billions of dollars of AI infrastructure from OpenAI, Oracle, some other companies. But how much of this is new money that hasn't yet been committed versus sort of a repackaging of other projects that have already been announced? As you see, we've seen in the past, and we'll probably see in the future, business leaders sort of coming to Trump saying, oh, we're going to do this all because of you, trying to curry favor. But it's not really a new investment. It's just something that they were already going to do, and they just sort of pivot the framing of it.